The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, commonly referred to as the Academy, recently announced that because they're trying to keep the Oscars to under 3 hours, that they will be cutting 8 categories from the live taping. The categories in the chopping block were documentary short subject, short film animated, short film live action, film editing, makeup and hairstyling, original score, production design, and sound. And I get it. Most people only care about the big ones: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor or Actress, Best Supporting Actor or Actress. But I am not most people. As you may have guessed by the fact that I make my living making videos about movies, I am a massive film nerd. And although I may be in the vast minority of people who truly give a shit about documentary shorts and original scores, that minority is a large and very vocal group of people that did not take this issue sitting down. I mean, many of them were probably sitting down while angrily tweeting, but you get the point. The Academy received a lot of backlash about their decision to not air those 8 categories. As a matter of fact, members of the Academy have even resigned over the controversy. Take 4-time Oscar-nominated sound mixer Peter Kurland, whose film The Tragedy Macbeth is currently nominated for Best Picture, who said, "I can't imagine a purpose for staying in an organization that doesn't respect my craft anymore." Director Steven Spielberg said something about it. "I disagree with the decision made by the executive committee. I feel strongly that this is perhaps the most collaborative medium in the world. All of us make movies together. We become a family where one craft is just as indispensable as the next. I feel that at the Academy Awards, there is no above the line, there is no below the line. All of us are on the same line, bringing the best of us to tell the best stories we possibly can. And that means, for me, we should all have a seat at the supper table, together, live at 5, because it starts at 5 p.m. on the West Coast." Soon after all the outrage, the Academy changed their tune. Now what's going to happen is that they are going to record those 8 categories an hour before the live taping so that they can seamlessly edit that part in to the live broadcast to still ensure that it stays under 3 hours. A compromise. Now that you know the backstory, let me take you through all the categories that may not be popular enough for the live taping, but may be cooler than they're given credit for. Easily one of the most crucial and artistic roles in the making of a film is the production designer, which is why it blows my mind that they don't get more love. Production designers are in charge of the overall look of the film, which means that they work very closely with the director and cinematographer to create the visuals of the film, yet a lot of people don't really know what they do, which is why we got the production designer from The Tragedy of Macbeth to break it down for us.
Working on Macbeth was probably the most collaborative project I've worked on. You know, you bring something to it, but you're hoping that your crew or somebody else will go, "Oh, you know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say this." And, "Oh, you're like, that's a great idea." And you start layering up, and then something beautiful that you didn't fully conceive comes out of it. And I think that's the best. So the foundation of what Joel gave me allowed us to just get in and be creative right away and get into it. And get in that place where you want to be, where you want to start creating imagery, where you're reflecting the director's movie back at them. And they can tell you if you're right or not, or how they feel about those ideas. But it's a great spot to be in. And Joel just gave me an incredible foundation to do that.
I was once told that the editor is like the final director of a film, because the editor takes all the pieces that were created by the screenwriter, the director, the actors and actresses, the cinematographer, sound designer, and brings them all together and puts them together like a puzzle. And when the pieces don't quite fit right, it is the editor's job to bend them the right way to make them fit. Now, a lot of filmmakers hate editing. Can't stand the monotony, the sitting in place, the trial and error. I love it. I was always the kid who stayed home sick from school and watched movies and did puzzles all day, which is why I became an editor and why I really care about the editing category and think it's really awesome. When I was just starting out doing video and film, I paid zero attention to sound quality. So when I showed a friend of mine who was in film school a short that I had made, he turned it off after 10 seconds because the sound was garbage. He said that people will forgive bad visuals but not forgive bad sound. The Los Angeles Film School website states, "Poor sound can ruin an otherwise spectacular production." So anytime you find yourself completely immersed in a film from beginning to end, it's probably because the sound was done so seamlessly that it just carries you through the film, which is exactly why these sound artists deserve our recognition.
Where's the Outworlder?
It's hard to have a movie without an original score. I mean, you could if you decide to have a movie without any original music, which is fine. But an original score is what gives a movie its unique identity and sets the tone. It's what brings you into that world. The minute that score starts at the beginning, that movie is telling you who it is, and it doesn't let up until the credits roll. Hans Zimmer says it best when he's talking about his score from the movie Dune.
I want them to feel exactly what they want to feel. All I want to do is be a conduit, or let the score be a conduit, or let the score be like, I'm opening doors, and all I'm telling you is that you can now have an experience, but I will never tell you what the experience is, because I think it'd be so awful to take the autonomy away from people to actually experience things for themselves.
I feel like a lot of people assume that just because a documentary is short, that it's not going to be as good or compelling as a feature. And I disagree. I think that some stories are better told in under 40 minutes. Also, documentaries historically don't have great funding. So in a lot of cases, they just work with what they have. And for what it's worth, some of these Oscar-nominated documentary shorts are really good. Here's a sneak peek at a couple.
Born in a small town in South Mississippi in 1955. Became a great female basketball player. At one time, was the greatest in the United States.
امریکایانو خارجان درولې دي هغه چې موږ ګوري چې موږ هم لاړ سو خپل وطن ته ولاړ سو یا پر موږ بمبارونه کېږي یا موږ وژني خلک.
Same goes for the live action and animated short films. I think some stories are just better told in short form. I have been more affected by some short films than I have with a lot of features. Like, this year's animated short, The Windshield Wiper, is so gorgeous and touching and sweet and provocative, and I couldn't possibly see it as a feature. And Riz Ahmed's The Long Goodbye is so intense and hits so much harder as an 11-minute film than I think it would as a full-length feature. As a performer, you realize pretty quickly that the makeup and hairstyle that you're wearing could actually help you go even deeper into character. And as an audience member, the way a character looks can sometimes infer things about who they are or the world that they're living in that can bring you deeper into the film. The amount of artistry and skill that it takes for makeup artists and hairstylists to be able to create such different and intriguing looks, even within one film, much less multiple, is incredible to me. And when you look at this year's nominees, you see the amazing talent that these artists have. All the more reason for them to be celebrated. So whether or not you actually watch the Oscars this Sunday, at least now you'll have a better idea of how awesome these categories actually are.